Okay, this is a quick demonstration of how to install the DK2 actuator on your T-slot aluminum extruded chassis. This in particular here is an 8020 unit. So first you get your included bracket, and you want to mount this included bracket to the actuator. So you put the slotted holes down and the single holes up on the top. Or another way to look at it is this little recess here at the bottom, is you want to make sure that's always down, just like that. That little recess clears any kind of parts of the actuator there. Okay, so put in these four first. The unit or the kit comes with a little bit of Loctite, which you can apply just a little bit. You don't need a lot on these screws. These screws are going to be flush up against the profile, so they're never going to come off. But it's always good practice, since these are going to be shaking a lot and vibrating, to apply a little bit of Loctite to them. So what I'm doing is just very loosely putting in the 4 bolts. That makes the bracket concentric to the actuator, so it self-aligns, because there is a taper to the bolts. It's just exactly like a wheel on a car, lug nuts. So, and same thing, I'm going to tighten that one first, then the opposite corner, and then the one right next beside it, and then opposite of that as well. And you don't need a lot of force at all. 15-20 pounds is really all you need. Foot-pounds, that is. Alright, so now I've already installed the cables. I've ran them inside some dust covering, so it looks nice and neat. I have my T-nuts in there as well, so these also come in the package, so they're already installed. And it's good practice to put the actuator, which will be covered in another video, all the way back in the chassis. So as far back as possible, especially in the back. A lot of seats are sitting right at the limit, and so to make sure that all the actuators doing equal work, it's always good to have the weight of the chassis kind of centralized, just like you would in the race car as well. Okay, so I'm just going to lift our chassis a little bit. Our chassis is not heavy, so I can do that. If you do have a heavy chassis though, you can use a wedge or a block or something like that underneath it. And I'm putting in the lower bolts first because they're slotted. They allow for some slop, and that slop makes it easy to align the ones on top. But the slot also allows you to mount the actuator if you want to a 40 series or a 20 series profile, so in which case these bolts would sit all the way up top. Okay, so that's loosely in there. So now we can actually let go, put our other bolts in, align it nicely, just like that. Okay, so same thing here. You want to just give them a light snug first, and then use the longer part of the arm. You never want to over tighten aluminum, but just enough so it's snug. And these bolts are heavily oversized for this application, so there should be absolutely no way that they're going to come off or have any issues in the future. Okay. And then, so this is your power cable, the 4-pin Molex connector is your power cable. This is your data cable. Just simply plug them back in. And that's it.